Hey, and we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, that show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake Baldino, and today we're talking about Batman Arkham Shadow. This is a new game from developers Camouflage, a studio going way back to Republic from 2013, but more recently the surprisingly fun Iron Man VR from 2020. Well, they've stuck with VR and now have applied their knowledge to a full-on Batman Arkham game. Now, you probably remember, or maybe you don't, Rocksteady gave us Arkham VR. There was like a small kind of demo-like experience in the earlier days of VR way back when. It was awesome, but it was short. This game, Arkham Shadow, is very different. This is a full-on Arkham-style game translated to VR. Like, I was kind of skeptical when I saw the trailers. You know, how could they possibly make the Predator sections, stealthing around corners, using all those gadgets, the combat? How could they actually make that doable in VR and not awkward? Well, they've actually nailed it. While I wish it wasn't exclusive to Meta Quest 3 or 3S, and I do hope that changes down the line, otherwise this is like a must-play VR experience. It's got a few launch day bugs, but it feels like something that, you know, it kind of feels like it moves the needle a little bit. Not quite on the holy crap level of something like Half-Life Alyx, but certainly deserves a spot on the list and is worth playing at some point. Arkham Shadow is awesome. And just so you know, I bought the game, jumped in at launch, and this is captured directly from a Quest 3, not a 3S, just so you know. This is also going to be as spoiler-free as possible. Now, jumping in, like I said, this is a full-fledged game, not a VR experience. You walk around and you do a lot of the stuff you do in Batman Arkham games. It feels smaller scale, you know, some areas are totally linear, some allow a little exploration. It's not open world, but it feels comprehensively Arkham. More so Arkham Origins than something like an Arkham Knight, if we're on a scale. And that's fine, because I really loved Arkham Origins. It was a solid prequel spin-off of the main Arkham games with a bit of its own flavor. And they continue that vibe here, just like Origins did. Specifically with it taking place after Origins, and with Roger Craig Smith returning as an incredible pre-Conroy Batman. Can I just say how much I've liked him as Batman in various places? He does a great job, and I love him. More Roger Craig Smith as Batman. Anyway, there's a new gang in town, and like led by this villainous Rat King, and Batman's gotta do what he does best to stop him. Look for clues and punch a lot of men. Story-wise, there are some retreads, you know, some bits that feel like the greatest hits of Batman and Arkham stuff, but it also isn't afraid to try some new stuff, ask some new questions, and actually surprise some folks. I don't know if Arkham lore nerds will be 100% in line with everything, but bottom line, it was all very entertaining to me, a Batman freak. Familiar characters in different periods of time, some thrilling cutscenes, and cool moments. It actually just commits to telling a real game story in a VR game. This means sometimes the pacing is a little off. You know, there are some parts where you're doing less Batman stuff that can be a little bit more dull. I don't know, it's okay. And sometimes there are legit cutscenes, meaning you're just standing in your room staring at the floor or the ceiling or something, but it's still a good adventure. And depending on your VR tolerance, it's a good one, like taken in small chunks or breaks. And I say that because it's a pretty active game. Like any good big modern VR game, there are tons of options to get the right feel for you, because everyone's VR sea legs are different. You know, movement sensitivities, focal adjustments, and vignettes to reduce motion sickness, all that. I can usually go with the more veteran movement settings and not get sick, but I did try different levels of sensitivity here, from like casual to hardcore, and found them all fun and playable. And fun the game is, man. Like, that's the most important word with all of this. People forget this fun factor. The Batman feeling is there, but more importantly, the Arkham feeling is there. You can tap your temple to engage detective mode, and then that's when it kind of hits. You know, you see points of interest, you see electrical lines running, you see enemies behind walls in X-ray vision and their skeletons in classic Arkham style, and that's when it hits you. But you get that feeling with pretty much every action. Pulling your gadgets off your utility belt, grabbing at your sides and pulling your arms up, pulling your cape out to glide. My only complaint really is the grappling hook. It's more of a look and press button instant thing, and I'd rather have more of the feeling of actually whipping out the Batclaw and shooting it, but it still gets the job done the way they implemented it. It's actually kind of good because there's a lot of ladders in the game, and I just hate VR ladders very much, so you're damn right I'm grappling hooking up all of those suckers. Now, the combat is where things also give you that feeling that you're probably looking for. Enemies come at you and surround you. So, as you know, the biggest thing in Arkham games is the counter. So in Shadow, you can counter an enemy by throwing your hand up when you see the indicator, or if there's an enemy off screen, you see the indicator on the side, so you throw out your hand to that side. Then the game very smartly pivots you around to face that enemy, and then you can land a few hits on them. And you're throwing punches left and right, with the game encouraging certain combos and like using the right hand for the job to continue a combo. It doesn't always let you go crazy, you know, flying punches. You gotta land them correctly and use the right arm. And sometimes I couldn't help but get into it and punch a little faster than the game wanted me to during a combo on a guy. While it took me a little while to get used to it, like there is some learning curve, it does add a level of challenge and thinking instead of mindlessly punching, and I do like that. And still, that all being said, there are times when the game like lets you mindlessly punch away at dudes, don't worry. You can cape, swoosh, stun, just like in the main games, and then set dudes up to get punched a million times super fast, and it's just as satisfying as you'd hope. So you can also get your combo up, and you can activate powerful instant knockout attacks. Along with this, there's kind of like some different options you can do when you engage this state. So that's a bit of like a development on the Arkham games. There's also, of course, a dodge. You can use your gadgets in fights, and the game does a good job pacing new gadgets and abilities as you go to keep things interesting, like any proper good game should. The thrill is there too. So enemies look pretty good, and new types are introduced with new ways to defeat them. And you'll see dudes fly, crumple, and shout as you hit them. Batman will grab some, he'll ground pound some, he'll grab someone's leg and break it, do a big kick. A lot of the stuff he does in Arkham games, he does here. And the game lets you pull it off by, say, like throwing your arms up, slamming them back down, little things like that. It's kind of like QuickTime events, but in VR motion. So it's satisfying and feels like you're actually kind of doing this stuff instead of just pressing A. The same goes for stealth. You know, you're in these Predator sections. They are very much the things you've seen. But you're hiding in grates, you're throwing smoke bombs, you're grappling up to gargoyle statues, and miraculously, it doesn't feel awkward. It's pretty close to being in the games, just a little less complicated. So detective vision, you know, you set it up, you look around, you plot your next move, and maybe you dive kick into somebody or sneak up behind a guy and choke them out. The stealth knockout techniques feel a little goofy to pull off. Like you gotta like put your arms up and kind of like wrangle left and right. 1, 2, 3, but they do get the job done. Most of the stuff in the game just feels cleverly intuitive. The first time you see like a vent grate on the wall, it's like second nature in these games. You grab it and you rip it off the wall and move it to the side, just like Batman did in the other games 1,000 times. Like, and it actually works. It's little things like that feel that really impressed me and just made it fun. And of course, as you progress, you earn Wayne Tech unlock points to unlock stuff in different categories. Some stealth, armor, gadgets, stuff like that. So faster takedowns, more health resistance against bullets or melee, you know, stuff you've seen in these games before, but with a couple little variations and shakeups. And like I said, it's not an open world game, and it's not super Metroidvania-y like Arkham Asylum, but it does let you, you know, explore off the beaten path quite a bit. I spent a lot of time doing this just to listen to ambient radio broadcasts, NPCs talking to each other, and then just kind of really looking, searching around for Easter eggs and references, and there are some, and also hidden collectibles. There are Rat King propaganda radios to find and destroy, and these little rat statues as well. These are cleverly hidden, or often ask you to, you know, figure something out. Usually like a little environmental puzzle. They're not as over the top as Riddler trophy stuff tend to get, but they kept me engaged, and I had fun hunting for them. And visually, the game gets the job done. Since it's running on the Quest headset like the hardware, it can only look so good, but the developers did a really good job squeezing everything out of it. Some detailed interiors, the familiar cityscape of Gotham. You will see a lot of very familiar buildings and enter some of them. You revisit quite a bit actually, but in like a good remixed way. There's also rain coming down, neon signs, Batman's shadow, casting, it's all there. Also, character models look pretty solid. Some of them, their eyes, not quite, but that's probably one of my few only complaints. It probably doesn't look as good on YouTube videos. I probably only have like 1080p footage here, but it does look very good in the headset when you're really immersed and you got some headphones on. I wasn't distracted at all, except for the occasional glitch and a couple of visual hitches. These are not good things in VR. Like, you can't have the frame rate drop on you. And thankfully, it only happened occasionally. A few glitches made me had to reload a checkpoint though, unfortunately, like things getting stuck, and sometimes those checkpoints are not generous, which is kind of a bummer. These are small issues that can be fixed, and the developers have been pretty upfront about a patch coming soon for stuff, so I'm fairly confident, but still be warned and keep an eye out, be informed. Still, I haven't seen anything catastrophic, just a few annoying bits, but it's worth mentioning. Still, even with that, I think they really succeeded here. Batman Arkham Shadow is a good representation of Arkham gameplay in VR. It lets you kind of feel like Batman, but it's also fun. It's got that real good balance of like staying true to the source, but also just, you know, having a ball with it. I wish I could go into story spoilers a little bit more, but like I said, I'm keeping this spoiler free, but there is some stuff to talk about. I definitely want to see more from the studio. I would love to see, like obviously I'd love to see the Arkham games continue. And if this is what we're getting, fine, so be it. I want more, but if we just get Camouflage doing cool Arkham VR games, I will take it. I know VR isn't for everyone. It's had its ups and downs over the years, but I enjoy it, and I just really like this game. I know it sounds like I'm shilling a little bit, but it's just fun. So that's it before you buy. You know how this goes by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now I want to hear yours. What's your experience with the Batman Arkham games? Chances are you've probably played one. Everyone has, but what's your experience with VR? Were you like me? Were you skeptical of this one when it was announced? I did not have high hopes, but here we are. Let's talk about anything Batman Arkham Shadow down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. We've been down there as much as possible, but things get a little crazy. So if you ever want to like yell at me directly, find me on Instagram or YouTube or social media, wherever, just at Jake Baldino. You can catch me on these Before You Buy videos, the Friday news show, but otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Clicking the like button does help us out, and we'll see you next time.
Out the trash.
Dr. Tompkins is calling in. She's quite insistent.
Bruce, can Harvey and I expect you at the courthouse tonight? We're planning a fundraiser for crime prevention.
I am crime prevention.
You can't punch your way through every problem.